Hello and welcome to Money Matters. My name is Busi Mbokazi and today we're discussing saving and investing. To help us unpack this really interesting topic is Mr. Max Moyo. Mr. Moyo, welcome to Money Matters.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for honoring our invitation. Mr. Moyo, you and I, we've discussed this a little bit, but I wanted to unpack the issue of saving and investing. You said to me there's absolutely no point unless we start with a very important conversation as to how do we make money. So, Mr. Moyo, give us all the tools to make money.
You know, it is important, I think, because a lot of times you'll find a lot of people that will tell you about where to save, where to put the money.
Yes.
But we don't answer the most important question is, before I can save it,
Where
I have
do I
to
get it?
earn it. So I always want to try and start where, how do you make money?
Yes.
And then what do you do with it?
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing to recognize is who you are determines how much money you'll ever make in your life.
So if I'm daddy's girl and I'm born to a rich family, my life is set.
Who you are as in the essence of who you are.
Okay.
So the three things that really define a person in my view. The first thing is your identity, or what I call in my book, irresistible difference. The second thing is your talents and gifts.
Yes.
And the third thing is your purpose.
Okay.
These three things are critical because you see, if you make money and you don't know your purpose,
Yes.
that could destroy you.
Yes.
And we have evidence of people who have made lots of money, they end up committing suicide, they take an overdose of drugs, or they just effectively live a destructive life. So it's important to start to just move a step and say, look, the issue is not to make money. The issue is to define why you exist. Because if I know the purpose for my existence,
Yes.
then the money I'll make also has a purpose, serves a purpose. Because generally what happens, if you don't have money, you have lots of hope.
Yes.
When I have money, I'll be happy.
I will do.
And the painful part is, then you wake up one morning and you have money and you are still unhappy.
Because?
So you snort cocaine. You abuse drugs.
Yes.
Or we become abusive to other people.
Other people. Yeah. That's when we start calling them obnoxious.
Yeah, because we're stuck. We thought this would bring happiness. So take a step back. It's okay. The first thing I need to figure out is, who am I?
Who am I?
Why am I here? What is my purpose? So I'll do it quickly because I know we don't have time. So I'll unpack this. So first thing is identity. Shortcut for identity is ID, which stands for irresistible difference.
Okay.
I'll give you a classical example of irresistible difference. If you think in your families, all our families, we have a family member who's a peacemaker.
Yes, generally, yes.
But if you look at that peacemaker in your family, they didn't go to school to study peacemaking. So what we discovered, the very important discovery, is that they were born with a unique, irresistible difference of bringing about peace. This is important to understand.
Yes.
So now the first question you've got to ask yourself is, what is your unique, irresistible difference?
What is your ID?
Once you figure out what your irresistible difference is, the next thing is, what are my talents and gifts?
Yes.
Once you know what your talents and gifts are, you want to know they were given to you, obviously, to
fulfill,
to achieve a particular purpose. That's very important. So now, money then becomes a product of me embracing my unique, irresistible difference, harnessing my unique talents and gifts, and deploying them towards a unique purpose. When that happens, the money naturally flows.
Okay.
So I don't set up to chase after money.
Yes.
No. I do something that causes the money
to come.
To follow.
So, and you're doing things that are unique to you,
that
are within your God-given abilities. So it's not something strange from you. You don't have to go to school. You don't have to, well, not necessarily that you don't have to go to school, but it's not something you have to go and dig up. It's not something
it's natural. It comes naturally. So you see people that sing.
Yes.
They don't go to school of singing.
Yes.
But once you know you got the gift, then you go and refine the gift.
Okay.
So I'm going to share with you this. So the first thing that I want to share with you in this process quickly is that now, so the first thing is attitude.
Okay.
Attitude. Attitude speaks to how I think of myself.
Okay.
Because whatever you think, you become.
Yes.
So if I think I come from a poor background and therefore I'm not going to make much of my life, that's going to be it.
Okay.
If I think I'm a woman, I'm limited, that becomes it. If I think I'm a black, so whatever we think of ourselves becomes us.
Because the power of life and death lies in that.
Aha. So now, the first thing you need to fix is fix your attitude
Yes.
towards life. A classical example, I'm going to use two animals and you'll get it. A lion wakes up every morning. He's not the smartest. He is not the fastest. He's not the strongest. He's not the cleverest.
He's not the biggest.
But he sees an elephant.
Yes.
What is that? What's the lion's attitude?
I'm going.
There's my breakfast.
Yes.
The lion is 20 times his size, but his attitude is, this is my breakfast. So he will attack a lion 20 times his size
elephant, yes.
and an elephant. So eat this thing.
Yes.
Look at the elephant's attitude. He's big, he's fast, he's heavy, he's bulky. He sees a lion. What's his thought?
Run.
This one is going to eat me.
Run.
So do you see that these two animals have a completely different attitude?
Yes.
So the lion ends up being the king of the
dominator.
jungle. But he's that because of his attitude. So you need to figure out, what is your attitude about life? Mine is very simple. I was born for a unique purpose.
Yes.
I came to the world because there's something in the world. There's a problem in the world that I'm a solution to.
Yes.
That's my
That
position.
You have been
Uniquely
and purposely created for this particular solution.
So that speaks to my attitude.
And so your ID, then you've got to now adopt this attitude.
So it actually starts with the attitude.
Yes.
That I'm born for then.
Okay.
The second part then is your attributes.
Okay.
Attributes then speak to your irresistible difference and then your gifts and talents. Those are attributes. Those are things that you're born with.
Okay.
But just because you're born with it doesn't mean you can maximize it.
Exactly.
So now what you do with these attributes, you then begin to develop them.
Yes.
You develop them, you sharpen them. That's the third aspect, which is aptitude.
Okay.
I want to get excited now. So you know your attributes.
Yes.
Then you go to school.
Yes.
You go to singing school, voice lessons. You do piano lessons. You do all these things. You are sharpening. You are making yourself better. In other words, what do we call it? You are refining your uniqueness.
Okay.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Yes.
You refine that uniqueness. So you start with the attitude. Attitude leads you to your attributes, which is your gifts and talents. And you take those, and when you sharpen them, it lifts your aptitude, your ability to deploy this, the skill. So you can now sing with a skill rather than just this raw thing. Now you've sharpened it better. The attributes then, when you've sharpened them and you've gone to school, you've studied what you are born to do, then that lifts your altitude.
Okay.
So when you were still figuring, I got a nice voice,
Yes.
and you were singing with your group at church, you were good. But now that you've gone to voice clinic, you have a coach who's teaching you. You have refined this. So whereas before you were just in a church, now you are no longer operating just in singing in a church. You are now releasing albums. You're operating at a different altitude, international. You're now an international singer. Do you get the picture?
Yes, yes.
You've lifted your altitude. Yeah, get excited about this thing. So now, this is very important because all of us, that's where we need to go.
Okay.
We need to go to a place where, because when we were born, we were at the same
level,
altitude.
Yeah.
We're on the ground. And as we develop ourselves, so you might have the same gift, but the other one the one who doesn't work on the gift will never go any higher than where they are. Those that excel are the guys who work on this thing until they get. So look at this. Don't chase after success or money because success and money will always be ahead of you. Do something that will cause success and money to find you.
Okay.
What is that something? Firstly, value is created by refined uniqueness.
Yes.
What is your uniqueness? Your irresistible difference and your talents and gifts. They're unique. As you refine that, you increase your own value.
And your value.
Yes. As your value goes up, so unique, so refined uniqueness then leads you to significance.
Okay.
Now, when I'm saying you're significant, it means you have an impact.
Yes.
So now you are impacting people, you are impacting the world. As you do, so you have influence now.
Yes.
your influence. So people are following. People are moved by what you do. You can help people change their lives. That's where the money comes in.
Okay.
So money is a function of you.
Having worked on
That's
your
it.
innermost
That's
being.
it. The problem is that most of us are searching after money. So we'll go to school, we'll look at what course pays the most. Then we go and study that.
Yes.
So now you're an accountant. You hate accounting, but it pays the
But it
bills.
pays the best bucks.
So now what do? You spend the rest of your life waking up every morning, going to a job you hate, a boss you cannot stand, and you're afraid of losing the same job you hate. Now you end up with high blood pressure.
Yes.
So let's get that right. Get the right attitude. Know what your attributes are, your gifts and talents. Work on them so you lift up your aptitude. As you do that, you start operating at a higher altitude. Give you an example. When an eagle flies, an eagle can fly as high as some jets. And experts will tell you that when an eagle is in high flight and it meets another bird, that bird has to be an eagle. So let me put it another way. If you find yourself bumping into chickens, you're flying too low. Or as I say, if you're eating worms, that's because you're hanging around chickens. Now, once you get this right, then the money is coming in.
Yes.
Then this comes important thing now that says, now I'm earning money. What do I do with this money?
With this money.
Yes. So now, this is where you start. The first thing you think about is emergencies.
Okay.
I've got to put money away. I've got to save some money in case of emergency.
So how do you determine? So you've got this wad of money that's managed to come your way because you've done all this work on yourself. You've created significance. You've set yourself apart. You've created value in who you are. Now money starts to flow. We look at soccer players. We look at musicians. We look at all these people with these special talents, these special gifts. Even you as an individual make great monies through different means. So how do we then determine how much money to set apart?
It's also, often I say, you know what you need to put away. A lot of times we want an expert to tell us, but actually I think you know. So what would you need? So should you not earn a living for that month, what would you need?
Enough.
What is enough? So you work out that. So
Yeah.
if something were to happen to me this month, or an
let's
emergency,
say 100 rand.
I need 5,000 rands, whatever it
Yes.
is. So you start putting that. There's money that you put away for emergencies. Ideally, you want to have three to 6 months worth of income put away for emergencies.
On that note, I think we've got a lot to think about. I think let's pick this up right after the break. Hello and welcome back to Money Matters. We're still discussing savings and investments with Mr. Max Moyo. Mr. Moyo, so you were saying just before the break that we should be looking, we were trying to determine how much one should save. And I said enough. And your position, I left you off saying, ideally we should be looking at about 3 to 6 months of our own earnings. It sounds like an incredible amount. To anybody who earns any amount, it sounds like a huge amount. How do we go about creating savings worth 3 to 6 months?
So remember, you don't have to put 6 months worth of income away at one go.
Yeah.
So you could decide I put 10% of my income will go to build my emergency kitty.
Okay.
So every month you're putting a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. Over time, it builds to the amount that you're comfortable with. So should something come by, I can, I've got something put away.
What's an emergency? Not
Anything.
a new pair of shoes.
It could be. It could be. I mean, it could be. You want to go on a wedding and you need a pair of shoes. For you, it's an emergency.
It's an emergency.
So it depends on the person.
Okay.
It could be your car breaks down.
So there's no predefined.
No, you can't predefine.
rule,
It
and
has
let's
to
not
be
restrict people.
No. It's your decision.
But we're saying that should anything go wrong, you should have at least 3 to 6 months.
Ideally, yeah. But it's not cast in concrete. Someone else can say, Max, actually, I don't need to do that. I only need 1 month.
Okay.
So it's up to you.
Because I'm a savvy person.
This is where it's important.
Yeah.
The decision about your money is your decision.
And this is
because
why-
you will bear the consequences of the decision you make.
I'm so sorry to cut you off, but it's like, but this is why we started with purpose.
Yes.
Because all of that predefined purpose, understanding who you are, has every little bit to do with how it is that you determine what you do with your money. And I guess then, even in this type of a discussion, how much money do I need to set aside?
It depends on what are your needs. So if you got kids, you might have to put a little bit more because, you know, he falls off the swing.
Yes.
If you don't have medical aid, you're going to have to pay. If you got medical aid, it might not be that much of a problem. So it depends on your circumstances. We don't know. The window breaks. You know, the garage door stops working. The fridge stopped working. So it could be any of these things that can go wrong. Because what happens a lot of times, because we don't plan, then we end up borrowing. And then once you start digging that hole, we all know it ends. We end up working.
It's the never-ending story.
A lot of people can, you know, if they could never pay back what they've already borrowed.
Yeah.
So try and build. That's why I kind of think I like, 3 months, 6 months, very good. So as it go, if you're those who do it properly, you get to a point, and you built. You now have your savings. You're okay. You're okay. And then, of course, so the first thing, it's that emergency basket.
So the emergency we would term what? Short-term savings?
Short-term. So that's your short-term. Yeah.
Okay.
Money you can get hold of. You can
on a 1 or 2 day basis.
It could be 1, 2 week, whatever. It could be within 30 days for that matter.
Okay.
I mean, it could be in the bank. So now that money you will probably, the savings vehicle you choose would be a vehicle that allows you access to it. On demand.
An urgent basis.
Yeah, on demand, yeah.
Okay.
So, you don't put it on a 5-year plan, because, so, yeah. So once you've got that sorted, then you kind of say, medium to long term, what do I do? And this is where the concept, what you're trying to do is to make your money work for you.
Yes.
This is where the beauty is that while you're sleeping, your money is working for you. This is where you now start investing. And for me, the concept of investing is very simple. It's not new. It's not rocket science. Every community had a savings plan or process that we used to use. So in the village, we used to have cattle.
Yes.
You can see that we kept livestock.
Yes.
And that was everything. It was emergency. It was long term.
Yes.
Yeah. So, that's how we did that. Because most of us don't keep livestock now. So most of what we'll call investment will happen on the stock markets.
Okay.
Yeah. So you go to an investment firm. Ideally, when you come to long-term investing, I always urge people, get a professional financial advisor.
So in today's nomenclature, there are lots of people who call themselves stockbrokers or forex traders and X, Y, and Z. How do we determine who is a professional, who is not?
So I don't know about other countries, but in South Africa, obviously, you have the Financial Services Board.
Yes.
And so a professional financial advisor would be licensed by the Financial Services Board. So when he comes to see you and you go see him, you can ask for his license. You can go online and you can check that they really are fit and proper.
And that's the person we should be speaking
yeah, so you
to.
want someone like that. So what I often say to people is, go and see at least 1 or 2 or 3 people. And then kind of decide who you want to work with.
Who works with you.
Yeah, depending on what's their approach, what works for you.
Again, linked to your purpose. And
linked to how you want
things to go. So your purpose then defines your long term.
Yes, everything is, yeah.
Everything is directly linked in how you make this decision.
So now, once you get the professional person, they then can, because there's so many options out there, there's no way we can know all these options. So you want somebody. So the example I use, I always say, if my liver is giving me a problem, I don't know where my liver is, but it's there. I know the right word, but it's somewhere there, there's a liver. Now, if my liver is giving me problems,
yes,
I don't go to my body and say, hey, chief, just get that knife. Can you open here and check what's going on in my liver? No, I won't.
You go to a professional.
I don't even trust the GP.
Yes.
I want to go to a specialist.
Yeah.
Watch what we do with our money.
We go to anybody.
Half the time we ask somebody who's broke, who's always asking us for money. Have you heard about this investment? Guys say, you're going to lose your money. That guy's never invested anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. So what you want to do when you work hard for your money, when it comes to investing your money, find a professional. And more often than not, get a second opinion. If somebody, so you see a professional, they then will draw up a plan for you based on your circumstances and your needs. They call it a needs analysis. They'll ask you a few questions about what you want do you want in the long term, what are your responsibilities, what are your, what are your liabilities, and then they'll say, based on this, this would be kind of the portfolio you look at. Now, obviously, if so instead of just taking whatever you get, you might want to go to 1 or 2 or 3 professionals and then make a call as to which one. Now, this is important. We don't like paying.
No.
Anybody who's giving it for free, if advice is free, it's probably not worth anything. If you want good professional advice, you must be prepared to pay for it.
Yes.
This is important.
Yes.
Yeah. You work hard for your money, so go to a professional, pay them some money, and make sure you get a good job done. Now, once that happens, so I don't need to know the details. So there's you can put your money in a unit trust. You can actually buy shares on the stock market, but there are people who can help you do that, and then they're professional, and you work with them. The only thing that I'd caution people is don't abdicate your responsibility.
Yes.
So you don't go and say, I've got a professional now, I'm not involved.
I don't check on anything.
No, you must be involved. You must understand what they're doing and what that means, and you need to be involved. So often ask people that, you know what, go to financial seminars, read books on investing, get involved a little bit so you know a bit more. You don't have to know as much as the professionals, but know a little bit so that because there's also a lot of sharks out there. There's a lot of sharks, and there's a lot of people who come in with that scheme and this scheme. And I can tell you one thing, if it's get rich quick,
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
I think that in South Africa, our fingers have been burned a few times.
Everywhere. It actually happens everywhere.
And with a few of these get rich quick schemes, these referral schemes, I mean, those, what are they called? Ponzi schemes.
Yes.
So where you have to refer someone and someone else refers you and the person on top gets the money and you climb up a pyramid. And everyone is supposed to get very rich very quickly. Yeah. The key difference between that and an actual investment is what exactly?
Investments take time.
And why is that?
Because anything that's good takes time.
And
there has to be seed time and harvest. You don't plant corn today and harvest corn tomorrow. Whatever, you go to school. You don't go to class tomorrow and get a degree tomorrow. You don't go to the gym today and get fit tomorrow.
Unfortunately.
So everything takes time. There's a time for everything, Solomon said.
Yes.
So you need to keep that in your mind, that whatever is good will take time. If there was an easy way to make money, we all would be doing it. There isn't it. The same guy who's trying to sell you an easy plan to make money, do you think if you found an easy way to make money, you'll be telling everybody? No. Guy says, look, you can make money easily.
Yes.
But you got to pay me X.
Yeah.
So often I tell people, go back to the village again. In the village, you bought a cow. You waited, cow gets pregnant for however long. Then there's a calf. Then the calf grows. And if the calf is female, after a couple of years, the calf gives you a calf. And so as you compound this over the years, one day you wake up, you got a crowd full of cattle. Nothing has changed.
Nothing's changed.
Same thing, you buy shares in a company. As the company grows, the share price grows.
Yes.
Then it doesn't do that overnight. It takes time. So you spread your investments over many different classes of assets, and then you wait for your return on investment. But that's why you need a professional. Because a professional will be able to say, well, we can put money in a fixed deposit here, we can put money in a unit trust here, we can buy a bag of shares there, and when you combine this is what they call your investment portfolio. Yes. And then, you watch your portfolio grows. And you must remember this, like everything else, life is not in a straight line.
Exactly.
Life goes up and down. The same is true when it comes to investing.
Yes.
The values go up and down. But if you draw a line through this, what you find is that it's consistently increasing. Then years later, you look back and you got a crowd full of cattle. Or years later, you look and you discover you are now worth X amount.
What is the one principle you definitely want us to leave with today?
So I think most importantly is figure out who you are. Figure out why you're on earth. And then know that you are significant. In other words, you were born for an impact. Once you get that right, as you make money, so for you Christians, it's very easy to look at this. I always say, go read the story of Joseph. Joseph began to advise Pharaoh. And he says there will be 7 years of plenty.
Yes.
Followed by 7 years of hunger. If you look at life, that's how life works. There's years of plenty, but they can be followed by years of hunger. So Joseph says, well, if that's the case, what do? In the years of plenty, we make as much as possible. We save, we store, so that when the lean years come, we are okay. And if you look at that story, you find that Egypt got wealthier during the lean years because they had invested wisely. The biggest mistake you can ever have is you make money and you spend all of it. So let me do it this way. A lot of us, we're worried about how I can make more money when I invest. The thing you should be thinking about is, how do you limit your costs?
In investing.
Before you invest. So if you think about it, if you made 10,000 rands a month and your costs were 5,000 rands, when you make 20,000 rands a month, you don't eat more food.
No. So don't increase your costs.
So with the mistake we make, most of us, is we increase our costs at a faster pace than we make money. So then what happens is the more money we make, the more debt we create.
Mr. Moyo, we would love to continue this conversation with you, and I think I'm going to have to beg our producers to continue to give us another segment. Mr. Moyo is the author of various books, such as Leadership Call, Who Moved My Ladder, Become Yourself, and I think all of these might be fundamental to us understanding a little bit more about who we are. Mr. Moyo is available. Mr. Moyo, what is your email address, or how best do people get a hold of you to be able to get these books?
So you can email maxmoyo@icloud.com.
maxmoyo@icloud.com.
You can go on my website. It's www.maxmoyo.co.za or .com.
Very easy.
You can find me on Twitter. It's official Max Moyo. You can find me on Facebook. It's Max Moyo. And you can find me on LinkedIn. It's Max Moyo.
#Max Moyo.
There we are.
Mr. Moyo, thank you so much for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that we're able to give you tools and better insights into how to go about investing your money, how to go about making your money, and how to go about living your purposely driven life as God has intended for you to do so. Until next time, thank you and goodbye.